Putin demands Ukraine surrender all of Donbas, abandon NATO, remain neutral, and bar Western troops, offering only limited pullbacks elsewhere. Zelensky signals flexibility on a ceasefire if security guarantees are secured, but rejects ceding land or granting Russian language status. Donbas, he insists, is vital to Ukraine's survival. Will Trump's peacemaking bear fruit, or is this just another chapter in the ongoing Ukraine-Russia war? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he is ready to make some compromise on his demand that a ceasefire takes place before any talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, as long as some security guarantees for Ukraine are established. In a statement on August 20th, Zelensky said,
"The format that has been proposed likely involves some compromise. I told President Trump that, in any case, we will need a period of calm to develop the entire plan for ending the war, if we truly want the plan to be serious. Ukraine is waiting for security guarantees architecture to be established within 7 to 10 days before setting a date for talks with the Kremlin. And based on that understanding, we aim to hold a trilateral meeting. That was my logic."
However, Zelensky ruled out attending a trilateral meeting with Presidents Trump and Putin in Moscow. Speaking to reporters, he suggested Austria, Switzerland, or Turkey as possible alternative venues.
"There could be no meeting in Moscow. As for Budapest as a venue, I think it's not easy today. And to be honest, Budapest did not support us."
His comments come as Moscow openly contradicts the White House narrative that plans for a bilateral meeting between Putin and Zelensky are underway. Ukraine and its allies in Europe have long pushed for there to be a ceasefire as a first step towards ending the war, which would require resolving seemingly intractable issues such as land and security guarantees. But after US President Donald Trump pivoted towards favoring a peace deal over an immediate ceasefire, Zelensky indicated he was willing to be flexible. Speaking to the reporters on August 20th, Zelensky said Kyiv would like a strong reaction from Washington if Putin was not willing to sit down for a bilateral meeting with him.
"I responded immediately to the proposal for a bilateral meeting. We are ready. But what if the Russians are not ready? If the Russians are not ready, we would like to see a strong reaction from the United States. To discuss what Ukraine is willing to do, let's first hear what Russia is willing to do. We do not know that."
Zelensky said it was unclear what concessions regarding territory Moscow was willing to make to end the war. Trump has previously said Kyiv and Moscow will both need to cede land. According to the RBC Ukraine media outlet, the Ukrainian president also said that Kyiv has no intention to grant Russian the status of an official language as part of a settlement of the Ukraine conflict. Meanwhile, as per Reuters, Putin, in his Alaska summit with Trump, demanded that Ukraine must give up all of Donbas, abandon NATO ambitions, remain neutral, and bar Western troops. As per the report, he has said that in return, Russia would halt its advance in Zaporizhzhia and Kherson, and even relinquish small areas in Kharkiv, Sumy, and Dnipropetrovsk. Moscow insists on US guarantees against NATO expansion. Zelensky has consistently rejected ceding territory, calling Donbas key to Ukraine's survival. Trump cast himself as a peacemaker, saying Putin wants the war ended, but doubts remain in Kyiv and Europe about Russia's sincerity. Russia currently controls 1/5 of Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov on August 21st said that President Putin is prepared to meet Zelensky, but all issues must be worked through first, and there's a question about Zelensky's authority to sign a peace deal.
Speaking about the meeting the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is talking about, just remember that he for a long time declared that he would never negotiate with the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He still did not cancel his 3-year-old decree which directly prohibits holding negotiations with Putin. But our president has repeatedly said that he is ready to meet, including with Mr. Zelensky, with the understanding that all issues that require consideration at the highest level will be well worked out. When and if, hopefully when, it comes to signing future agreements, the issue of the legitimacy of the person who signs these agreements from the Ukrainian side will be resolved.
Lavrov added that the Kremlin proposed sending higher-level officials to talks with Ukraine in Istanbul, with no confirmation that Russia supports a meeting at the leadership level.
Russia has always been in favor of an honest talk with Ukraine. And those security guarantees agreed, I stress, on the incentive of the Ukrainian delegation in April 2022 in Istanbul are supported by us. They were supported then and are supported now because they are really based upon the principle of collective ensuring of security. All the different ideas, all the unilateral moves are an absolutely hopeless venture. As the current discussions between the West and the Ukrainian side are essentially linked to providing guarantees in the form of the foreign military intervention of a certain part of the Ukrainian territory. The aim, pursued by the so-called coalition of the willing, is to shift focus from elimination of the root causes of Ukrainian conflict and achieving of sustainable settlement to providing security guarantees for Ukraine without participation of the Russian Federation. This is so obvious to everyone that I do hope that this plot, this adventure, will fail.
Meanwhile, Hungary offered to host peace talks between Russia and Ukraine twice, and the offer still stands. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó on August said,
"If we are needed, we are ready to provide appropriately fair and safe conditions for such peace negotiations. We are pleased if we can contribute to the success of peace efforts. If we are needed, we are here too."
Russia is facing colossal threats that mean it must continuously improve its nuclear weapons shield, the chief of the State Atomic Energy Agency warned. The director of Rosatom, Alexei Lakachev, on August 21st, referred to Russia's nuclear forces as both a shield and a sword. Speaking to the Russian state news agency RIA, Lakachev said,
"Now, in the current geopolitical moment, it is a time of colossal threats to the existence of our country. Therefore, the nuclear shield, it is also the sword, is a guarantee of our sovereignty. Today, we understand that the nuclear shield in the coming years must only be improved."
However, he did not elaborate on the planned improvements. This warning comes less than a week after President Donald Trump met Russia's Vladimir Putin in Alaska for talks aimed at ending Moscow's war in Ukraine. Russia has the world's largest arsenal of nuclear weapons and has, in recent years, modernized it to include hypersonic missiles, which Moscow says can penetrate Western air defense systems. Russia and the United States are upgrading their nuclear arsenals, including the systems used to detect and intercept incoming nuclear-armed missiles. Just as China ramps up its nuclear capability far beyond those of Britain and France. Russia has about 4,300 stockpiled and deployed nuclear warheads, and the United States has about 3,700, a total of about 87% of the world's total inventory, according to research by the Federation of American Scientists.